Let's go live. Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing tonight?
I'm pretty excited. We might not have the quite the same guest list as normal, but I think we got some good content regardless.
Yeah, I'm calling this the sliced bread of ADFK website updates. I'm more excited about this
Wow.
update than anything else that we've done, and so we are going to be breaking down for you the latest and greatest that Neindorf has gone into the lab and developed. So we've been collaborating on this for a little bit, and really the impetus for this idea came out, gosh, months ago. We've been talking about statistics on hero data forever, and now is the time. And I feel like it's the right moment to strike as well. So, tell us a little more. Well, give us a little more lead in on what have you been developing. Or actually, let's back up. Do you have a question of the day? I forgot to ask you.
Oh, question of the day. Oh boy, let me think real quick. Okay, it's timely. Um, what do you think a good reset resistance level for Jewel is? We've had a peak, we've had a bit of a trough. What do you feel is a good? What's your gut feel?
That's a great question. So first off, I want to shout out Trade Room
Oh
because
yeah.
he's way smarter than either of us when it when it
Uh,
comes to trying to read the charts. And we've got quite a few people inside our Discord as well who will also do a better job of reading the charts. Um, I feel like kind of the reset level is going to be and this is as much as me hoping for it to come into existence. um, Around 40 cents. I feel
okay.
like we dipped a little below that, and hopefully that resistance is going to come through strong tonight, and we might settle in at that 38 to 40 cent range, and hopefully trade around there being a new normal. Give us a little bit of a bounce pad to something. I think then the next one would be like a 75 cents, and then maybe a buck 30. And again, I'm kind of going off of my best attempt at regurgitating the brilliant trade room and others in the ADFK channel.
Yeah, it definitely feels like I was just looking at the chart, and once it hit that low of, I think it breached 29 cents and something, the troops definitely rallied, and it's kind of been a steady build back. So I think
Yeah,
the thing that's been in my mind the last couple of weeks or month that this has been going on is I feel like my tipping point is 35 cents. I don't know. It's a gut. Not financial advice, but I feel like where things are at right now with, one hunt, not, we don't have a huge epic quest or anything yet. I kind of feel like that's the range. If it were below that, I'd consider buying. If it was above that, I'd consider selling. But again, just purely gut feel at
yeah.
this point.
I have the Rome terminal up in the trader. Having this integrated into the game, this wasn't there during the first couple bull runs, and
No.
I'll be honest, I avoided looking at it in the bear market. But now that we're getting some bull runs, I mean, I feel like this is so useful to. I mean, look at where we're at here. I think the fact that like there was some initial resistance around this 35 cent mark here.
Yep.
Um, Back on December 6th and 7th, right when we started that. And then we catapulted up to 55 cents after that, and then up to a high of 82. But we really tested around the 75 cent mark.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited. I hope we're there. Like you said, we sold 29 cents, and then we rallied hard.
That's right.
Yeah, and we're still seeing some green candles right now. So that's
Oh,
good.
absolutely. I think, yeah, the night's young.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into why box plots, and I'm gonna kind of bring the what are box plots Wikipedia page up on screen. I'll drop this in the YouTube chat as well. um, if you're like me, stats went in one ear and out the other without practical application when you took that class in college, or like me, I think I had to take like three or four stats classes in college, and they've all gone in and
Uh,
out. But now that there's practical application in a great way, um, anything on I just have the Wikipedia page up here, Neindorf. Anything that
yep.
you want to like? Do you want to start with the basic explainer of it?
Yeah, well, we might as well. Yep. So I can jump in. The premise of it is basically you want to model the population, whatever your population might be, in kind of one simple pictorial view with just, one x axis or one y axis rather. And so basically the top and bottom of the quote unquote whiskers, it's your min and your max, right? Here is the population lives between these two bounds. And then as you move into the box, you have three more vertical lines, and that's basically going from the bottom up. It's your quarter mark. So you've got on the bottom, but below the box is a quarter of your population. The bottom half of the box is a quarter, and then top half of the box is a quarter, and then you got a quarter above. So it's kind of splitting your population into equal parts, and allowing you to see basically what the statistical average of this population is for whatever the stat might be. And in this case, we're doing hero stats, the 8 of them, and then on the separate plots, HP and MP.
Yeah.
Uh,
So inside the box, 50% of the population falls into that box, right? And
Absolutely.
so if I'm below the box, I know I'm in the bottom 25% of the hero population for that particular stat. And if I'm above the box, that's in the Raph zone. That means
Yes,
we're in the top 25 percentile of the hero population when it comes to that particular stat, right?
that's right. Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
and we were chatting about this a little bit, but the next step is, kind of what. So now you can see the stats, right? That's great, but now is when it gets really interesting and what you can actually do with that information.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up my favorite hero here on screen, Star Stern Breeze, 118427 PJ Survivor. This is one of the two. If you've been a long time listener, right before the PJ, I was kind of sad that I didn't send enough heroes, and I bought two mythics and sent them both and thinking if one survives, I'll be happy. Well, they both survived. It was fantastic for me. I sold my archer, kept my thief. So here's my thief, and I'm looking at this absolutely gorgeous box plot here. And so this is a feature that's also available to subscribers. I should note quickly, and the reason we made this. This has been consistent with all of our decisions on what's going to be free content, what's going to be subscriber content. And this is some in depth statistical analysis. And so this took a lot of development time from you and a lot of ideation around how are we going to show and synthesize this data. And so everything that is like basic blockchain data, we want to bring visibility of that to the masses. And that's why we continue to have the basic hero data page show all of the stats of summoning, and when you're comparing two heroes, what is the likelihood of the outcome that you're going to receive. Now this is a lot more in depth, and so this is with a subscription, and then you can access this. You will be able to see endurance right now to give you a Nine Dwarf laughs, because we consider this to be the least valuable to stat points, but we wanted to give you a taste for what is this going to look like, and so you can start to compare your heroes. So here I got Bjornstar Sternbreeze up, and I'm a luck maxi. That's what I've been going for. It's my blue stat gene here, and I've been using greater crystals on almost every level up. The ones that I didn't use, it was probably only after I purchased him, and I also used a greater atonement. So pretty much every
Nice.
time I've had an opportunity after the greater atonement, I've used the greater crystals, and I am setting the bar here for luck at 55. And one other thing that is critical to this analysis that we need to talk through is that you're also taking the hero population and then you're filtering it by two things: level and class, because that's pretty critical to the analysis. And so we want to see how your hero compares to the field, filtered by class of hero and filtered by level of hero. And so this box plot that I'm looking at right now, this is all other thieves that are level 15 and that are thieves, compared to, we're not looking at compared to ninjas, we're not looking at compared to anyone else. And so pretty excited that I'm setting the bar here at level 15 in this luck setting. So as you kind of look at this box plot, what else do you see, Neindorf, that kind of sticks out to you?
So I see, a couple things. The number one.
Neindorf, could you get a little closer to the mic?
Oh, sorry, I was
Here,
leaning over. There
yeah,
you go.
break. There you go.
The first thing I notice is, you're hesitant. You look for something that's below a box and you want to get nervous, right? Like if I look at the vitality score, I'm like, oh boy, that's low. Maybe I should be getting nervous. But you jag over to the HP plot, and you can see that he's pretty much on par with average. So that hasn't really negatively impacted you yet. So I think that that is a great point where you can kind of like, am I in
Right.
trouble or not? And the other thing that really jumps out at me is the agility being, I don't know, what, 80th percentile or
Well
something like
above,
that.
yeah, well above yeah, it's in the RAF zone. So,
Yep. So that those two things combined, the negative is not that negative, and the positives are really positive. And some of the other stats that you don't really care as much about are fairly neutral and that meet, the half the population right in the middle. So all around, well done, I would say.
thank you, thank you. And a quick shout out to Crypto Grady from the Fight Club days. If anyone remembers, he had a beefy boy thief, who I haven't looked at his thief since we have this, but I'm sure he is like top of the charts when it comes to that HP. But like you're saying, like that might have been important for Fight Club, but in 3v3 in the main game, you can hide your, ideally when the thief codex or not the codex, when the thief releases into the game, you're not putting him front line. And so if he's
Right.
a little less on the health, that's fine by me. I'm maxing for thieves, and if you look at the codex, it's luck, it's agility, it's dex, and it's actually agility is not quite as important. It's just what thieves are good at. It's strength, dex, and luck, which is what their
Right.
codex is based on, which is kind of a bit odd. But I'll definitely be going through the luck moveset for sure.
Oh yeah, and I do like to note too, the Dex. I didn't notice it at first because it was hiding in the orange there, but it is still towards the top, and you're almost breaking out of that top bar. So that's another thing that it's you're in great shape for this population of what 300 and some heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, so do you have a hero that you want to share on the box plot? Otherwise, I started doing some box plot analysis in Power BI, which lets me kind of go through some iterations quickly. And I could transition to that next if you don't have anything else
Yeah,
to go through.
I gotta pull up my favorite paladin.
All right, yeah, let's take a peek at them. I
I
think
will take.
actually this will segue nicely into.
I was hoping so.
Yeah, all right, go
All
ahead and
right, do
share
you?
your screen.
I don't know if I'm set up. Can I just give
Oh,
you the
okay.
hero ID?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let me know when you're ready to rip.
Ready.
274529.
All right, so I'm loading this up. Why does this guy stick out to you?
Well, so a lot of his stats, I will notice there are a lot of stats below the box.
All right, I'm
Uh,
gonna like do the reveal here,
so
slowly.
I'm gonna preface it.
All right, so I see a paladin warrior, common,
Yep,
level 15. Why are you showing us a common here, Neindorf?
right. It's bizarre too. And a paladin, great, cool. Fishing, common, you're like, meh. Why did you take this guy to level 15? You might add, right?
Yeah,
And I kind of already spoiled a little bit of it. A lot of his stats are kind of subpar. Um,
agility of 13 at level 15. I don't think
uh,
he's hit that like four times, four or
yeah, I
five
think that's about
times.
right.
Like, yeah, it starts at 8 or 7, like that.
But I will tell you, he's in every boar hunt I do, and we win most of them. uh, so
This is a
the
little
big
bit
deal
of
is,
like
is
reveal just enough to win here.
right. The big deal here, you can obviously standing out is that his vitality is pretty dang high at 52.
Yeah.
Um, I typically like to see, at level 5, I want to see 25, and then I want to see 35, 45, 55. So at level 15, well, that should be 45 is your good stat. You want to be at least at 45, in my opinion. So he's, 7 points above that. Um, but what that really does is that gives him as a paladin an opportunity for some pretty massive HP gains.
Yeah.
Um, and this guy has
All right.
not disappointed.
Whoa. Oh boy.
So he is basically, yeah, he's setting the HP bar for level 15 paladins as a common,
As a
mind you.
comet. Look at this. And the interesting thing is I'm picking up here on this chart, the vitality. I mean, you're in the RAF zone, so you're
Yep,
well into the top 25%, but you're setting the bar for HP, but you're not setting the bar for vitality. And so
correct.
that is the kind of disconnect between you're getting a lot of high level rolls that are going for high HP gain per level.
That's right.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's hitting that 50% high gain versus the 40% medium, and he's never gotten a low. I'm 99% sure.
Yeah.
Um, so, and it's kind of funny. I just leveled him up not all that long ago, and I believe, I think it was Dex was kind of bad, so I kind of put a point or so into Dex, and I think you can kind of see here, it looks like he kind of recovered that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I
now
mean,
it's time to start thinking. I think now that his HP is as high as it is, I almost, and his vitality is in good shape,
mm-hmm.
I almost might try to see if I can't round him out and maybe make it so that his, and this is what, like, where would you go next? Is
I
it
think I'd go
agility
for
so he's not
strength.
strength? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of hurting too.
I would say based on some nights that I have, where and actually, you know what? We don't have the Paladin Codex, so
Right. That's the hard part.
we can't really say. But when it comes to, so maybe wisdom is the right place to go.
Could
Um,
be.
but when it comes to knights, I really like the what's the level one skill that is the based on strength that does the damage.
Oh
That
yeah.
that skill I often bring on my knights.
Mighty Strike, I
Mighty
think.
Strike, yeah, there you go, Del Raph. It's in the name. Um, yeah, and I like bringing that along, but it's gonna be tough not having a codex in front of you. Um, I would probably default to your percentages for level up, and so when you're looking at a paladin
Well,
next
and
to, well, endurance is good, and
yep,
your endurance is above average, above the mean.
yep. I think the
Um,
really important part is that he's got blue stat gene and the regular enhancement stone on vitality.
hmm,
So honestly, it's really hard to not just lean with this
yeah.
guy. Just kind of hard lean into it.
I
So what I will tell you with using him in boar fighting, he does miss a fair amount, and when he does hit, he only does like 70 damage.
yeah. Hey,
But
that's still pretty good for level
but I can
15.
go 3 rounds without having to even like think about his health,
That's
and my back
hilarious.
two guys can just obliterate.
Oh man,
So
this
it's
stat
it's a
history,
lot of fun.
powered by iOS code, um,
Yes,
is beautiful. Yeah,
yes, it is.
big thanks to Milligrew Giant there for that.
Yeah,
Um,
and for helping us, connect tools. Like that's
that's
some sort of collab that we love seeing and we love doing. So if
yep,
other people have tools and they want links, or if we can put links,
great
let's
call
do it
out.
because this is awesome.
Yeah, I would say consulting the stat growth. I think I'd go for strength. There's probably going to be some abilities based on that. Um, for some
I think
reason,
that's a safe play.
here's where I would zig maybe and instead of zag.
All right.
Wisdom, Ian workhorse from Wisdom. Remember when he was kind of the first of his kind to pound together dark summon two mythic paladins.
That's
And
right.
what did he use? He used a greater insight stone, which is wisdom.
Yes.
And I think that might play into it a little bit. Like, look at thieves. Like thieves also leverage strength in their codex.
Yep.
So I could see paladins leveraging wisdom in their codex, or at least having a lot of spells that
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
useful with high mana costs. Paladins are definitely, while they're beefy, like they're spell heroes as well. So I could
And
see
I guess
wanting to get that MP up, which is impacted a little bit by wisdom.
it is, and I can see, this hero right now, his wisdom and intelligence aren't great, but he's near average. So he's kind of got a couple lucky rolls there, I would say. And so you're right. Maybe leaning into wisdom as the second stat, is probably a safe, good play. Some of that magic defense too.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pan over to YouTube. anyone in YouTube chat that wants to go through any specific heroes or would like us to analyze them tonight, happy to do that. Drop your hero number in chat. We'll come back to that in a little bit. I'm going to try something here. It wasn't working last time I streamed, and so I'm trying a new display capture on Power BI here. So hopefully this is bringing up. And what I've done is I don't have a warrior right now. Warriors are a little underpowered. And I've looked at warriors and I'm kind of running through some unique analysis here. So I'm doing box charts, which you've done, Neindorf. Can you see
Yeah,
my screen right now?
yes, I can.
All right. So what I'm using is I'm using Power BI here, and this lets me run through some kind of iterations of the box chart development, and hopefully I can then give you some ideas, and we can figure out how to bring this to the masses in a way that's a lot more repeatable. And also, if anyone wants like this file, and if they are a Power BI user, happy to send it to you like free of charge. Just hit me up, DM me in Discord. So I'm looking at levels here, and I'm looking at warriors at level 13. There are 1,387 warriors inside this count. What I wanted to see is, how does rarity impact the stats that you're getting? And I looked at HP and vitality, which, as we've kind of talked about, should go hand in hand. But obviously, HP is the more important of the stats for the warrior. And I kind of wanted to see if they correlated. And in the case of this hero 268885, now I can jump over here. Yep, that checks out. That the highest mythic hero also has the highest HP values. But when I'm looking at this Neindorf, one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting is HP growth at level 13. This mean the average, like, that's darn near close to a straight line.
It
And I
is.
was absolutely floored by the fact that these level 13 heroes out in existence are not being impacted by rarity. I think it's safe to say. A little bit. If you look at this box, like the box dimensions are, but for the most part, there's a lot of value in non-mythic heroes. And this totally threw me through a loop. I was expecting to see, kind of like a stair-step pattern. And it could be a couple things. I'll welcome any theories that you have. I think one theory is, in game right now, people are not maximizing stones and crystals. And so that could play a role. But also, if no one's kind of leveraging mythics or leveling them up with stones and crystals, like, I don't know. So that's kind of like my one theory right now, is that people aren't leaning into stones and crystals, and with mythics in the future, people might lean into stones and crystals more, but that could go across any hero rarity. Like, that's not exclusive to mythics. So I guess at this point, though, you only have 2 mythic level ups. So your stat gain in the HP, where you really want it, is probably minimized. So any thoughts that you have? Otherwise, I'll jump over to strength and dex.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, but you got to realize too. I mean, 2 mythic level ups compared to a common. I mean, that's 20 extra stat points.
Yeah.
So on average, that's, I guess, what, 2 to 3 extra in
Yeah.
um, vitality, say. So it's not huge, but you would think statistically the average, that seems like that should show up a little bit more. But yeah, I think that tells you that, when we just kind of come from a hero that's common, there can be a ton of value in common. Now, it takes luck, though. It takes those rolls to go very well.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, look at this uncommon here. With the highest health in the game at level 13.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
that's fantastic. I mean, I think this goes to show, though, like, to follow on your point, it's like, all right, when PvP releases, are we going to be stuck level capped at 20? Because if so, Mythic does not matter. Let me repeat that. Mythic does not matter at level 20. You can have an uncommon warrior show up and ruin someone's day when they have paid 10, 20, 30, 40x what your hero costs. And it's like not all uncommons, because also uncommons are also setting the floor. But there's so much variability, like you're saying, that I think when it comes time for the initial PvP battling, there is going to be a room for people that are statistical savvy to really find the heroes that are most powerful in the game and leverage them with the move set. And it's kind of like the way my analogy would be, it's like stats of a hero are like a plane. And so, you can have a Boeing 747, or you can have a Cessna. And
Sure.
but also it matters who the pilot is. And it's like you could have the worst pilot in the world, well, they're going to crash your plane. The best pilot in the world could take that little dinky Cessna and actually do something with it. But if you have a great pilot and a great plane, you could be in good shape. And
Right.
so I've done this at a few different level points, because that's just level 13. So we can look at level 14. And the higher your levels go, the fewer the heroes there are. But
Yeah, and I
again,
think
yeah, go ahead.
so basically what this makes me think is that, what's the cost delta from a hero that's common versus a hero that's mythic, right? Is it 100 to 1? Probably.
Yeah.
Um, so what are the averages, right? If I were to level up 100 common heroes and versus one mythic, you know, am I gonna end up with a couple of awesome commons? Probably not more than a couple. It's just, the odds are stacked against you, but you can definitely do it. And there's very little you have invested in a common hero. You don't have to greater stone them every time. Now, you're going to have to rely heavily on RNG, but at this point, heroes are still cheap. You can still go buy dirt cheap heroes.
Common
So
heroes are very
exactly,
cheap. Yeah.
yes. So that's something that I'm kind of looking for too.
And
Now, if you
and
want to max a stat though, you're gonna have to find a greater stoned hero, or it's gonna be really hard to
yep.
max a stat.
And that takes us. It's a great segue to the next podcast. And we're not quite done for the night, but one of the things we're going to do next time is we are going to take in the tavern data and start to show you what are the good deals. And that's something that is not a feature available on the website, but that's something we're going to do live. So a bit of a teaser out there for joining us next time. We are going to pull in tavern data, and we're going to we're going to put out a poll to say, look at the class and the level ahead of time for our population out there, and we're going to show you if there are tavern heroes that are falling above that, above the box, which is, again, I like to call it the Raph zone. So let
So
me look at the warrior population here with strength and dex, and a little, I would say, favors kind of mythic a little more. Here I'm on 15.
yep.
Um, but again, there's still an uncommon, setting the field.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I'm seeing in YouTube chat, um, I do agree, and they're talking, people are mentioning Worm and Sticks are agreeing, Sticks intern, that higher levels, like level 50 plus, the mythics will pull away.
Oh, absolutely.
That is 100% true. I think the interesting part though is how long is it going to take us to get there, right? I could foresee us capped at 20 for another year or maybe even more, to be honest with you. So while I love that concept, I'm still going to definitely chase commons and uncommons if I can find deals, because it's just, they're so cheap right now. It's hard to ignore them.
Yeah. Just jumping back into the chat now. Thanks for reminding me of our wonderful YouTube listeners out there. Uh, Sticks is throwing some shade at me, I think, about Power BI Enterprise Solution. Yes, it is. But Power BI Desktop is free to all users, and so as an unlicensed user at home, I can give you a free copy of this Power BI license. You can go download it on Microsoft Power BI Desktop for free. You can't share. The thing with the licensing of Power BI is you can't share your items without being an enterprise user, but you can use it and you can develop on it for free. So
Oh,
um,
interesting.
a little bit of a yeah, it's my time in IT that has taught me all the rules around Power BI.
Very nice.
And I couldn't agree more. I think yeah, absolutely. Higher levels, mythics will break away, legendaries will break away. But that's our point is that the initial parts of the game, PvP is going to be launched with probably level 20 heroes, maybe level 30 heroes. And so by that point in time, mythics are not going to be able to break away. So there is a value play for people out in the world who can go find those value heroes, and that's what we'll do next time.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think, and that's something that uh, as the feature continues to grow, if we end up building some sort of feature like that into the site, something else I'm considering is uh, we have tavern alerts, right? And I'm
That's right.
contemplating being able to put,
Yeah,
filters into your tavern alerts that say, I want only heroes whose strength is one standard deviation above average.
I
Cool things like that.
that's probably the next place to go. So here I looked at warrior stats as well, and then what I did, like, because my thief, I'll show you this. Um, I looked at not only my thief, for the sake of the website, we had to simplify it to the level of your hero and the class of your hero. Here with BI, I had the flexibility to kind of make a sliding scale for a level. And so I'm looking at my Bjornstar Stern Breeze, and on luck, I am between heroes level 15 and 20. I am still, and my box is a little different than yours. I don't go with the entire population. I go with like a standard deviation above the mean. So
Oh,
it's
sure.
it's a little different in the representation here, but I am one standard deviation above the mean with my level 15, which I'm pretty
Oh,
happy about.
nice.
And then what I've
That's pretty
done,
cool.
and I think this is something that we're probably going to implement once we have a little more information around what are the valuable stats per each class, is I've taken this value box chart here. What I'm doing is I'm summing the stats here seen before you. So I'm summing strength, agility, dex, and luck on the thieves. And I'm saying, all right, so I might be good at luck, but how do I really stack up compared when I'm summing all of the most important stats that I think are for that hero class? So I have a guy here that he's very close at once again at level 15. And so if I normalize this to only level 15 heroes, he's second in his class.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you're basically following the primary stats that and then things that are most applicable in the
Yeah.
codex.
Yeah. Primary stats being strength, dex, luck, and then agility because, well, I wanted my guy to look good. And also, I think agility will be good.
You bet. We got trade room popping in. Looks like he likes the charts. This is a different chart. He's the master of the price chart. That's no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me turn this off in OBS so I can go back to some regular screen shares. Hit me up if you. I will drop a link. Let me do that right now. Actually, I'm gonna drop a link in chat to Power BI, how to download that. And then while I'm doing that, do you want to stall for time?
Sure. Yeah, so with this too, the next thing I want to add, I just haven't gotten to it yet, is, if you're like looking at heroes in your wallet or what we call our hero list view, where you can see all of them in the different tabs, I definitely want to add another tab so you can see what is your heroes, what are the standard deviations on all your stats, and then probably a sum kind of similar to what you were talking about. So basically, you could filter all your heroes and sort them by what is their, say, their strength standard deviation. And so a wizard might jump to the top of your list, which would be odd, but if you think about it, again, we are ranking them in populations in terms of their class and their level. So it helps level the playing field in the sort button, so to speak. So that's something that I'm kind of interested in because that way you can compare, say, priests to scholars,
Yeah,
or you can kind of go across the grain, not just with the grain. So that's something else that look
smart.
forward to that here soon. It won't take me long to add that. I just press for time and
But also,
weekend
like,
DFK warriors.
we're gonna need community feedback on this too, because it's like, all right, what
Oh yeah.
heroes should we throw into this category? Like, I love the year across the grain with the grain. It's like still you want to have heroes like. I know you've thrown out the term like magic users, non-magic users, but we might need a term for tanks, for support, And so I feel like we're going to really benefit from input from the community on, hey, I want to see these heroes in a category stacked against each other. Like, who is a bard? Like, is a bard a support user? Are they a sneaky attacker? Like, what are the categories that we need to start developing this? And a lot of this is going to be in speculation of what the future metagame is going to be without actually having a metagame in place and without some of the codexes. But this will be ever evolving as we go along, and we can't stress that enough. That as we've kind of patting ourselves on the back here, but as we brought everyone the basic hero statistics from day one, we're looking to be the leader in PvP statistics and PvE statistics. Like, we can't wait to bring you knowledge and more information and data on who's winning out in boar hunts. We also were throwing this around as an idea today, Neindorf, where we're going to
Let her
throw
rip.
some statistical analysis on what class of hero is being brought into boar hunts. Like, what percentage of the time is a priest being brought into a boar hunt, and then what percent of the time is a priest actually winning in a boar hunt. And so we're looking to bring you more knowledge and information like that to help complement your kind of metadata pursuit as you're trying to solve this game and optimize for winning.
Yeah, I think those are the things that are really interesting. I was looking at some of the dev docs for the boar hunts, and there's honestly, because that's kind of where I always have to go back to is like, okay, is it? I love the feature. How much effort is it? Honestly, for boar hunts, and you're talking about what classes are brought in and whether or not they were successful and say retry counts. That is effectively just three events that you got to watch. So it's honestly not all that difficult. It's just a matter of once you can scrape for that, and you kind of have to store it all, and then becomes the post processing and analysis like you're talking about. And that's kind of where the fun tools like Power BI really can help you see these awesome things. And we've kind of had a cool system in the past. I like that we're getting back to it where you kind of do some of the intro analysis in BI, and then I can work to see if I can draw it for everybody, on the site. So I think look forward to that, everybody. I think we're gonna keep pushing with this data front here.
Yeah, that's what we're excited about. So, thanks for the feedback in chat. Sticks already had some ideas on categories: tank, bruiser, healer, off heal, DPS, control. Um, love this. You know,
And the fun part about these are I think it's even more complicated because some of these categories, depending on what tract and stats you pick,
oh
a,
yeah,
a class is going to fall from one bucket into another
I
completely other bucket.
totally agree with that. You could run a pirate as a bruiser, or you can run a pirate as DPS, or potentially a
Right.
pirate as control. Like, you could go a few different ways, maybe. Um, oh, that's such a yeah, that'll be fun. And I don't yeah, you'll have to like we'll maybe have to build in some selection methods where like you could see your pirate in any of those three categories, or like you choose. Like, you could see your pirate as a healer too. I don't know why you choose that track because he has no heals. That
Potion giver.
yeah, that'd be yeah, exactly. Potion giver. Oh, he fails. That's
So
miserable.
the one thing that I'm kind of sad I don't think we can easily get on the blockchain is what abilities you've chosen for your
Mm,
hero.
right.
I think that is all off chain, and I don't believe currently there's any way for us to access that. You know, guys, if that's something else you'd be interested in, time to apply pressure in terms of AMA questions and demands
Yeah.
to Bolon. So
And
you heard it here.
we have asked a couple times and have been kind of politely told to focus on that they are focusing on priorities, which I get.
Oh yeah.
And so at some point, this is going to become a priority to the community, which then makes it a priority to the team, and they'll make API access to that as well, which should be awesome. So,
But as I'm thinking here, and I see your comment about gear, that's another stat point.
oh yeah,
Does the likelihood of gear being equipped to one hero or more heroes increase your odds of winning? Like it seems silly, right? But once you
yeah,
have 80 some thousand hunts in, the statistics start to work.
right. All right. Well, this was a good podcast. Thank you to the chat. Very engaged tonight on checking things out. Hit me up I dropped a link to Power BI here in YouTube chat. So you now know how to download Power BI desktop version and you can do whatever you want. It's kind of clunky to use. It's not as nice as the web, but it's free. I will send you my file if you DM me on Discord, and then you can do some of your own analysis. And I might even, if I have a few minutes out of the day, help you make sure you change your analysis to something that's useful for you. And then a big reminder to everyone: the next time we do a podcast, I'm not sure if we're going to do two this week or not, Neindorf. We're kind of getting back into the swing of things.
We
Um,
are, yeah. Good
but the next
content
time,
lately.
and next time we do a podcast, we are going to take the live tavern data and your feedback live. We're going to take that and we're going to see if there's any heroes above the 75th percentile that are good deals out there. So tune in next time. We're going to be deal hunting on the tavern to try to find some heroes that could be some valuable PvPers or PvEers out there that some of those tavern users may not be aware of. So jump in next time for some tavern sleuthing for sure. All right. Well, that's it for us. Any closing remarks you got, Neindorf?
No, I don't think so. Well, I guess one thing now that I think about it, like you said, this is out there for you guys. If you can think of really easy ways to use this same data and you'd like to see it on a specific page, hit us up, shoot it in the website suggestions box. That's where we get a lot of our good ideas. So keep them coming.
Yeah, and like you, like I said earlier, for anyone who missed it, not trying to just toot our own horn, but I feel like this is our sliced bread. I feel like this is an opportunity to really start diving into statistics that will drive an impact on. I love that this market is pay to play and pay to win, and I love the aspects of crypto, Web3, everything that it encompasses. And so I feel like there are opportunities out there that if you get smart with stats right now, you could go make a boatload of money, not financial advice, in the future. So hopefully, users out there, you really enjoy this. And then, keep giving us feedback. We want to make this better for you. So thank you, everyone. Okay.
All right.
Good.